Hello, hello, hello. Testing, testing. Hello, Estem first. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Trust you're getting on well. We're here to run a brief broadcast and analysis of events as they continue to unfold. African leadership has become a disgrace. African leadership a disgrace to African continents. It's quite unfortunate and very disturbing. The kind of leadership that African states has produced for several decades that have plunged the entire African nations within the African continent to become a laughing stock in the community of nations. Africans have been described as one of the backward and most impoverished continents of the earth. But in contrast, Africa is endowed with human and natural resources that, if properly harnessed and utilized, would be for the common good of all Africans. But because of the type of leadership Africa has produced, it has virtually destroyed all opportunities African had to have advanced and, of course, register its presence in the Community of Nations. Recall that Africa was the cradle of civilization. Civilization started from Africa, Egypt precisely. But what is the case today is quite pitiable, quite disturbing, and something that will leave you, of course, battered for the rest of the day. The level of poverty across the entire African states. Just look at what was happening in Kenya, in Mali, Burkina Faso, Uganda have just resumed. The people are restive. The people are tired of such slavery. These people are tired of such oppression by their own people, by the some Africans who unfortunately found themselves or paved their way to the corridors of power, conspiring with the Western world to impoverish and they enslave their own people. So, according to Professor Pat Utomi, said that African leadership is a disgrace, not just to Africans, but to the entire world in the Committee of Nations. Recall of recent, Professor Pat Utomi was accused to have been part of those masterminding the protests against misgovernance, against recklessness, against insensitivity on the part of the Tinubu's administration that have plunged the entire over 200 million population of Nigeria in such stage of in disarray. People are caught in this web of poverty, frustration, hunger, and things are not working. And the advisor, the spokesperson, or whatever, advisor of media, whatever he called himself, or Nonuga or so, ranting, making noise, empty noise. It's quite unfortunate and very disturbing that we have such people who do not think with their brain. Of course, Pat Utomi have said it that if he's in the know that there was going to be a protest, there's nothing wrong having a protest. There was nothing wrong having a protest, especially when it borders on the welfare and the existence of the masses, when the continuity or existence of the citizens are being threatened by the government anti-policies. Protest is a way of calling the attention of the government. If they so desire not to pay attention to the people. So unfortunately, Tinubu happens to be the control general of protests in Nigeria. He masterminded several protests, more pronouncedly against Jonathan. He sponsored protests against Jonathan, even when Nigerians were living in El Dorado. When Nigerians were happy with the Jonathan's government, he brought over media. Unfortunately, one of them is Sowore today, who is now attacking the same Tinubu, naming him to be one of the instigators of this protest because he has come to see the truth. The realities are staring at him. Sowore have understood that he was deceived in 2013, or of course, against Jonathan. They called him all names, but then you can still have a loaf of bread. The biggest loaf of bread then during Jonathan was 150 naira. But now a loaf of bread is 2,000 plus. 2,000 plus. In fact, the biggest should be about 2003, if it's not gotten to 2005, within a space of just less than 10 years or so. Now, what are we saying in essence? We are going to stray, of course, the position of Sowore regarding the happening, the economic mishaps, the untold hardship that has been brought upon the people by the administration of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, which unfortunately Ononuga is using diverse means to distract the attention of the people. I think what if Ononuga is responsible enough, he should have told the president that a bag of rice under his watch as the president of Nigeria is now sold for 83,000. That is what he should have told the president. That a loaf of bread is now sold for 2,000 plus. That is what a responsible uh, advisor or to the president should have told him, that Nigerians are really passing hard times. Rather than blaming people and using, of course, bigotry and religious sentiments to deceive the gullible. Oh, you can't deceive even the gullibles now because they understood. Even someone who did not go to school, who have never seen the four walls of the class, understood that this government has failed woefully. Without missing what Tinubu has failed woefully. 0%. In fact, it has entered negative. People are suffering is an understatement. Parents can't pay their tuition fees of their words. Of course, they've been piled up. Some schools are closing, shutting down because of the indebtedness on the part of the parents who couldn't offset their bills, let alone finding it difficult to eat, let alone catering for the other basic necessities. What is poverty? Poverty simply implies or means When you can't take care of the basic necessities of life, basic necessities, food, shelter, clothing, mobility, people find it difficult to eat. People find it difficult to go around about their daily activities. And you keep on asking for time. They should give you time, give you time. But you never ask for time. You went and buy yacht. You went and increased the allowances of the legislators and that of your cronies and other politicians. You never ask them to give you time to increase that. So, does the reason for the protest justifiable? 100%. It doesn't need patotomy. It doesn't need uh, P2B. There are people who don't even know who Pastor Itomi is. There are people who don't know who Pastor Itomi is, or they have not even heard about him. They're dying of hunger. So you can't tell, even the beggars on the street understood that things are no longer the same, the way it used to be. Because those who may want to extend, of course, arms to them, as usual, shall not even having anything left for, let alone to give to them. So what does that mean? Quite unfortunate that people are living in self-deception, trying to cover up the truth with lies, with deceptive propagandas, thinking they will always skate through all the time. If you're joining us, please kindly hit the like button. This is Wave TV, where we bring unbiased self-charge of events. Keeping it real has been our commitment, and we are here to analyze the latest developments and, of course, subject of interest as it borders on the existence and the welfare of humanity within the Nigerian state. And, of course, precisely the administration of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, in the midst of the renewed hope, what Nigerians are seeing is the renewed hope of hopelessness, frustration, aggravating the situation, making the situation more exhilarating and, of course, very difficult to survive. Now, this is what Omoyele Sowore tweeted in his Twitter handle. He said, this, okay, let me read it. It read to us. This is the list of those inciting public to riots. Take note of that. They are as follows. He said, this is the list of those inciting the public to riots. You will understand his positions. The first in the list, according to, of course, Sowore's space handle, the first in the list is Ahmed Bola Tinubu for engaging massive corruption, election rigging, and destroying the middle and lower class by terrible economic policies decisions since coming to power May 29, 2023. These are his reasons. The second person is Senator Akpabio and House of Reps speakers for leading the most useless Senate and HOR, or honorable members, or whatever he meant by that abbreviation. The third person is Yemi Cardoso, the central bank governor, for destroying the value of the naira. The third person is the IG of police, Ebetokun, for reducing the police to a corrupt and irredeemable national institution. These are his arguments. Of course, the list continues. the chairman of EFCC, for letting corruption flourish by ignoring real financial criminals while going after innocent or perhaps vulnerable Nigerians who are only victims of this orchestration and trying to survive uh, this unfortunate economic mishaps. Did you get it? Now, going further, of course, we have to listen to this. Okay, he said, EFCC chairman for letting corruption flourish by ignoring real financial criminals while going after inconsequential low-level crooks. You left real financial criminals to flourish while you go after Yahoo, inconsequential, low-level crooks, just people pickpockets. Why you left those who have stolen the destiny, the future of over 200 million Nigerians. And of course, there is no future. I listened to a video record of Tinubu saying that the continuity of Jonathan would be that even the retirees will have no pension for them, no gratuity. What is happening now? You are now borrowing from the pension fund to be reluted, which means even those who have served actively, who have committed the active years in the service of humanity or perhaps the Nigerian state, have no future. Their future is being emptied, it's being swallowed up in their very eyes, and they are helpless about that. Quite unfortunate. And the managing director of NNPC for stealing over 3.8 billion through subsidy scam. This is Sowore, of course, points itemized. He said the seven in the list, according to him, he said that the chief of Nigerian army for coming with bandits and terrorists through outright sabotage of national security. So the military has no business giving excuses why the citizens of Nigeria cannot be protected under their watch. It is their constitutional obligation. It is their duty to protect the territorial integrity of the Nigerian state. Under no circumstances should you give flimsy excuses, reasons why a Nigerian, a citizen of Nigeria should die if actually Nigeria is a responsible state. In any responsible state, they value the life of their citizens regardless of wherever they are, let alone dying in their home country, in their homeland. You have no excuse. Unfortunately, the chief of defense staff is telling Nigerians to their faces that they are not magicians. You can't imagine. So what has magicians to do with this statutory obligation? It is a commitment of the highest order, which by oath, you took an oath to protect the territorial integrity of Nigerians and, of course, ensure the security of life and property within the Nigerian states. But unfortunately, such has been defeated. We've seen cases where, of course, the military personnel exchange their uniforms and their weapons just for monetary inducement and all that, because what they are paid is not even enough to sustain them. So if they see any bargain, of course, which might compromise the security of the citizens, they can just jump to that. They can accept that, of course, because their life is also in jeopardy. Their life is in jeopardy, the life of their families and children. Unfortunately, you begin to ask, with the stipends they, they receive, can they even train their children to school? Can they send their children to school? Can they even eat? Let alone, we've seen most of them, several of them, complaining that their their ration allowance has been cut drastically. In fact, with the current economic realities today, it is no longer sustainable. How can you budget 1,000 for an adult? Even you cannot feed a child of 3 years. 1,000. 1,000 is just 2 spoons of rice, depending on where you went to. I mean, roads, mama put, what you call mama put. Not, you are not going to eat or a well structured restaurant that just picking up at the roadside. There's no this thing. So you don't even talk about that. So the next one is, he said, okay, Nigeria is a place where the more you steal, the more chances of securing yourself. What you needed is just to strike a day. Of course, out of the proceed of crime, you can't just settle those you needed to settle. The agencies that may come after you, and of course your lawyer, who will be, of course, romanced to do whatever. At the end of the day, you are a free man. So people who have stolen billions, several tens of billions, are working very freely, while the masses are bearing the brunt of this cruelty and this selfishness. And you're telling the people that they don't have the right. You are criminalizing protests. Who does that? You protested against the military junta. They never shot you. If they shot the president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, he wouldn't be alive to contest or even to be the president today, to cause this distortion to the masses. Even in military eras, they protested against what they perceive to be injustice. But when they have the opportunity, they could not. They make it very worse and unbearable for the masses. Well, that is quite unfortunate. But then, these are realities. We are on with the list. The Controller General of Customs, for conniving with cross-border criminals to deny Nigerians billions of dollars in excise and duties. It is quite unfortunate. Can you hear this now? These are realities, of course, unfolding before us, and things are very difficult. You can't easily import goods, especially edible commodities, from the borders again. Unfortunately, those now doing the importation are high profile personalities connected directly or indirectly to the customs. Some custom officers, hierarchy officers, are now the one pushing in the goods because nobody can arrest them. But what individuals attempt that, their container or goods will be confiscated, and you know what that means. You're losing your money and, of course, virtually everything. And they will possibly take it to themselves. They take it to themselves, share it. Okay, the 10 in the list is the judges who receive bribes to pervert the course of justice across our courtrooms. The judges who receive bribes to pervert justice in the courtroom. That's why we say that the Nigerian judiciary is on trial because the confidence of the people or the perception of the people about the Nigerian judiciary is that of incriminating. Nigerian judiciary are no longer trustworthy. They have lost the confidence of the people. People no longer have confidence in the legal jurisprudence. Within the legal framework, it's been perceived to be, of course, the justice is only perceived to have been done or is duly for those, the highest bidders. The highest bidders have justice. It's quite unfortunate, and this have destroyed the very essence of any chances of Nigeria surviving as a country. That is not about the realities. The 11th, the chairman, okay, of INEC. Oh, that one. In fact, I don't think Nigerians will spare that man wherever they see him, except he's under some heavy security. He said for organizing the un, okay, unconscionable election that brought all these criminals into power. That is his submission, that is his position. We are just reviewing. You also have your right to comment on this discussion, on these issues raised. You could as well argue for or against his position. Do you agree with this, or you have your reservations about this? Well, if you're part of the supposed criminals, I know you will have reservations about you oppose it. You see, this is the reason why perhaps Nigerians will be forced to the streets. These are the reasons that might inform or compel the Nigerian masses who are in the state of despondency, Nigerian masses who are at the risk of extinction. Hunger is killing the masses. Hunger is biting hard. I mean, I was just coming back to today. In fact, it's a horrible experience. It's a horrible experience. It's a horrible experience. It's a horrible experience. How many times have I said it? This is a horrible experience. It's something that the Holy Scripture will say, let it not be once mentioned among you. It's a horrible experience that a country that is endowed, a country that is blessed, a country that has enormous resources. Oh, sorry for the breaking transmission. We are back and good to go. If you're joining us, kindly hit the like buttons. Yes, kindly hit the like buttons. Hit the like buttons as we uh, progress with this discussion. Yes, hit the like buttons as you're joining us. What I'm seeing here, well, hit the like button, share this video. Is very informative and something we all must be concerned about. So if all these things expressed by Omo Yele Sowore happens to be true, then what do you think the masses who are at the receiving side will do? You conducted a protest, you sponsored a protest against Jonathan, calling him names, say he's a rogue, he's a criminal, he wants to steal the futures of Nigerians. He wants to destroy the very essence of Nigerians' existence by stealing the future, stealing the resources of Nigerians, making life unbearable for them. And as such, you mobilize people of your likes, of like minds, and deceive the gullible ones who said, uh, criticize, crucify Jesus and release Barabbas for us. In as much as I I don't agree with Jonathan's administration because there is high level of corruption, embezzlement. Jonathan was not the best any country could desire. It's not the best president, best administration. There is enormous looting, extravagant spendings without prioritizing the welfare and, of course, Nigerians. But that notwithstanding, Jonathan regime or dispensation is by far, in fact, in no way can that be compared with Buhari administration, let alone Tinubu. It could be considered to be just a heaven and earth compared to what is happening today. So the under Jonathan, 6,500 can get you a bag of rice. Full bag of rice, 6,500. Here, but when we go towards the border, you can get it 3,000, 4,000. But here in the town, you have it 6,500, 7,000 special rice, full bag, well loaded. But today, what can 7,000 do for you? 7,000 is just a meal. When you walk out in any restaurant, good restaurant, you just sometimes you might